All right, guys, welcome back to Tech and Tactical. All right, what do we got here? We got a Kershaw Shuffle. This is the Shuffle 1. This is the first one. There is a Shuffle 2. There's a few differences. Shuffle 2 is bigger. They changed the bottle opener on the Shuffle 2 and put it sideways right here. But anyway, this is the Shuffle 1. It's kind of a neat little Kershaw knife. It's very inexpensive. This is one of these $10 to $20 knives. I've even seen them a little less than that, depending on where you look. It is a Chinese-made knife. Kershaw, actually, in my opinion, has mostly, no, I said mostly good Chinese knives. Some of them were kind of weren't as good, but this, in my opinion, certainly for the price, is one of the decent ones. Again, it's very inexpensive. So, what are you really looking for? So, Kershaw Shuffle. This is a very tiny little kind of pocket carry, knife that even something that you would put into like in your car, or women could put in their purse. You could really keep this in some small spaces. As far as deployment, initially the action was a little rough. It wasn't very smooth, kind of right out of the gate. It still is a little tight. I mean, it doesn't move at all, like the blade. You know what I mean? You can literally like stand it. It's not the blade won't like pull open, but I've loosened it up enough at least so I can most of the time I can thumb deploy it, with one hand, and it seems to come out okay. I'm really big on these kind of satin finished blades, and I do like the shape too with that swedge on the top there. I think it's kind of a neat little blade shape. There's some of the actual cutting edge for you. Also, the new Shuffle 2, the other thing is that as far as I've seen anyway, availability wise, it is only a Tonto, and they are blackwash, I believe, instead of this really beautiful satin blade finish. They do have the little K's on there. I actually don't remember seeing Kershaw do those little K's on any other. I mean, maybe they did on one or two, but I don't. This is one of the few knives they've done that on. I don't know. I mean, you don't really notice it, I guess. It's very small. I guess it's just like kind of extra traction, for your hand. But anyway, I do really like the blade shape. This is a four-finger knife, in my opinion, because you do have a place right here where you could rest your finger, and your index finger choil is on the blade. So that's maybe a con for some people. You know what I mean? You're actually, now you're not like really on the cutting edge or anything, but you don't have any guard of any kind. I mean, in other words, you wouldn't want to stab anything with this one, because there's nothing to keep your hand from sliding forward. This is mainly something you use kind of like this to cut. You cut rope, you cut boxes open. It's great for that type of thing. It's really just a little kind of something, your little utility tool. So it also, like I said at the beginning of the video, it does have a bottle opener, and it works pretty well. It's not super, you can see the thickness there. It's not super thick. So maybe every time you don't necessarily you don't get the bottle top popped off every single time. I feel like once in a while you got to kind of hit it from two angles, but it's not super thin, but it's pretty thin, you can see. And then work our way up. It does have a pretty decent little pocket clip. Very tight little pocket clip. Again, being with how small this knife is, the pocket clip is also quite small. So I've said it in a previous video, I carry my knives on my belt, not in my pocket. I feel like, I'm always carrying a phone, at least one phone, and I'm not going to share my phone pocket, with a knife. And I generally have other things, keys or wallet and whatnot. So I don't know. I just don't. I carry them on my belt. I'm almost, when I leave the house, I'm 99% of the time I have a belt on. And if I don't have a belt on, if I have, workout pants or short or like, mesh lacrosse shorts, I can still clip this onto my, the pants. So if I was just running, like Saturday morning or something, I'm running up to the end of the street and getting a bagel or something, and I'm not putting a belt on, I could still, this is small and light enough that, I could still kind of clip it on. But the belt clip is very, or the pocket clip is very small. So on my belts, it doesn't actually go the whole way on most belts. My belts are bigger than that. They're like, they're maybe the size of the whole clip, instead of that actual little part that you would want to, I guess. On a lot of my bigger, I'm the kind of guy that carries maybe bigger knives than this daily. So, this pocket clip is just a little small for me. But, and then you've got, finally, you've got a lanyard hole down here, but you also have a flathead or a pry bar. It's a pretty, I've heard it being referred to as a flathead. It's a pretty damn big flathead. This is really just for those huge flathead screws or for prying. It's probably for prying, really. But it's another little tool to have. On a tiny little pocketable knife. So, as I said, I've gotten to the point where I grip the pocket clip. I don't actually, when I deploy it, I don't hold it the way that I would. I guess you can't hold it the way that you would, because you've got your finger actually goes on the blade. So, or anyway, on the choil, not the fine edge, of course. So, what I do is when I deploy it, is I hold my fingers on the pocket clip back here. You know what I mean? And then I go pop, and it just pops right out. But initially, it didn't want to pop out. I had to work on this thing. I didn't oil it yet. I don't really. You can see on the blade too where it's starting to wear. Where it folds in. You can see that little spot right there where it kind of scrapes. Sorry, against. You can't really see down in there, but that spot really scrapes, and then it's actually creating a little bit of a line there. That's not a big deal or anything. Again, it's a $15 knife, $15 knife. But certainly for the price, I think it's a good buy. It depends on whether you are looking for an extremely tiny little knife. I don't necessarily carry daily. This is good for, my like my bag that I carry around, my work bag. So anyway, I like to give everything a rating. I always base ratings heavily off of the price of the knife. If this exact knife, it wouldn't be made in China by Kershaw, but if this exact knife were $200, of course it would get a much different rating. So I'm going to give this knife a 6 out of 10. Now, that might seem a little low, and I do love Kershaw, but, it is kind of funky. You're holding... I do like it. If I lost it, would I buy it again? I don't know. Maybe not. There's a lot of knives out there. A lot of kind of functional, cheap, not cheaper, inexpensive knives that are available on the market right now. I don't know that I would buy this again. If I lost this, I'd buy the Shuffle too. Realistically, just to try that. I go through knives. I have a number of knives. Yeah. So Kershaw Shuffle. Thanks again, coming through, checking out another tech and tactical video. We will have videos that aren't knives, so that will happen. It's tech and tactical, so we're gonna have a number of items that will feature. I am into a lot of tech. I like phones. I like to compare. I do have newish Apple. I've got the iPhone 7 Plus, and I also have a Note 8. So I like the bigger phones, but I'll do some reviews on tech stuff too. But please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.